The stage lights breathe heat against my face as I step up to the podium. A practiced smile stretched across my lips while shutters snap like raindrops in a storm. This is the night I've chased since I was 12, the launch of Grey Media, the dream I kept alive in whispers. My pulse drums against my ribs as my eyes sweep the front row. 5 chairs sit waiting with small white cards. Mom, Dad, Everest. 2 more for the relatives who always ask polite questions and never stay for the answers. All of them empty. I reserved the seats anyway, as if hope were a superstition I couldn't shake. Miss Grey, a reporter calls from the front, pen lifted midair. Who inspired you to start your company? The question holds there, delicate and dangerous. I reach for the water glass to buy a breath, the crystal cool against fingers that tremble despite my steady smile. 200 power players fill the Westbrook Hotel ballroom. Their attention leans toward me like a tide. Maybe, I say, my voice softer than I intended. It started with knowing what it means to be forgotten. The room pauses, a single held breath. Cameras chatter harder. I feel the shell I've polished for years thin at the edges. I don't cry. I learned early that tears never shifted anything in the Grey household. Memory rises uninvited. I'm 12, cross, legged on the carpet of my bedroom, clutching a plastic microphone that doesn't plug into anything. I saved 3 weeks of allowance for it. Useless, but perfect. When I spoke into that toy, I pretended my voice could travel through the walls, down the street, across the world. I cleared my throat and announced to my stuff, Tanimal audience, breaking news. Soraya Grey reports that dreams show up if you work hard enough. From downstairs, an eruption of cheering. My father's voice booms through the floorboards. Did you see that catch? That's my boy. That's a Grey man. Football again. Always football. Everest's sophomore highlight reel had become our family soundtrack. 2, 3 times a week. I brought the mic closer to my mouth and tried to finish my imaginary broadcast. The door opened a few inches. Mom's face appeared, finger to her lips. Honey, quieter. Your brother's highlights are on and your father's trying to focus. I was just, I know, sweetie. The smile didn't reach her eyes. Later, okay, you know how important these games are. The door clicked shut, later slid into never. In our house it always did. Everest's games, Everest's trophies, Everest's future. That's how conversations found their legs. Once, at 14, I asked Dad why he didn't come to my speech contest. He ruffled my hair like I was 5. A son carries the Grey name, Soraya. Your brother's got real pressure. You're the lucky one. Lucky. I roll the word in my mouth even now, 6 years out of college, as journalists scribble the phrase forgotten into their notebooks. After that day at 12, I learned to record in a hush, to keep dreams small and safe. The toy mic cracked, but my initials S. G were still scratched into the bass. I imagined listeners who leaned closer because they wanted to hear what I had to say. I told myself, if I became exceptional enough, even home would have to see me. Senior year, I sat at the kitchen table with a halo of college brochures. I circled Northwestern's name in red. Dad, I want to apply. Their journalism program, broadcasting. It's the best. He didn't look up from his coffee. That won't put food on the table. What about something practical, business? Mom patted my hand. Your father's right. Communications can be a lovely hobby, but maybe find something sturdier. I applied anyway. Northwestern said yes, with a partial scholarship. A week later, my parents loaded the SUV with brand, new boxes, and drove Everest to Arizona State on a full ride. Dad clapped him on the shoulder. We'll help where we can, but with your scholarship, you'll be fine. My scholarship wasn't full. It left $1.20, 000 Canyon. When I showed them the numbers, Dad's face tightened. That's a lot for a degree that doesn't lead anywhere. So I enrolled at community college. I worked nights at the campus coffee shop. In the quiet hours, I pieced together second-hand audio gear from pawn shops, wiring my first real microphone together in a closet stuffed with foam I'd stapled to the drywall. The night after registration, I pressed record and whispered into the dark, testing levels. My voice had changed, less hopeful maybe, but steadier. If no one will listen, I told the empty room, I'll find the ones who will. Years thread by, stitched with espresso steam and cheap headphones. I slide another portafilter into place. The clock above the register blinks too. 17 a.m. The shop smells like burnt sugar and ambition. It is my third double espresso of the night. I'll need it for the edit waiting at home. Another all-nighter, gray. Marisa, the owner, leans on the counter, sorting crumpled bills. Under the low lights, the streaks of silver in her hair look like proof of survival. 500,000 weekly listeners don't record themselves. I say, and the pride feels unfamiliar, as if I'm wearing a new coat I haven't broken in yet. She whistles, 500,000. Your folks must be bursting. My hands still. They don't actually know. What do you mean they don't know? Her eyebrows fly up. 500,000 people listen to your voice, and your parents aren't two of them. They're busy. I tamp the grounds with muscle memory. Everest's senior season. Every weekend they drive to Phoenix. I don't add that they visited my apartment once in 2 years, that Dad inspected the locks while Mom checked expiration dates in my fridge. I don't tell her they declined to see my makeshift studio. Last week, I texted Mom the link to the episode that charted. 3 days later, she replied, "That's nice, honey." No sign she'd listened. Marisa sets a gentle hand on my shoulder. "They're the ones missing out, kid." The bell chimes. A customer shuffles in, and the moment dissolves, but her words stay with me long after the door locks behind the last night owl. 3 weeks later, the desert slips by like a long, pale breath as I steer the family sedan toward home for Thanksgiving. The air carries a thin November chill that Arizona mostly ignores. A billboard looms, Arizona State football, Everest's number 84. Takes up half the sign, like always. The driveway is crowded. I step into a house already buzzing with cousins and casseroles. Sage and turkey and the sound of Everest holding court. There she is. Uncle Richard booms, the career gal, still doing that little radio thing. Podcast, I say, and yes. Dad appears, beer in hand, grin easy. He claps my shoulder. She's got a few listeners now. Hobby's picking up, Soraya? A few. Last week alone. 513, 942 downloads in a day. I set my bag down. Where's Mom? Upstairs. I climb the stairs past the hallway exhibit of Everest's life. We photos, varsity posters, newspaper clippings. My graduation portrait hangs at the end, smaller than the rest, crooked. When I push my old bedroom door open, I freeze. The bed is gone. In its place, glass display cases heavy with trophies and signed footballs. My bookshelf is replaced by framed headlines about Everest's wins. Mom stands in the center, dusting a gleaming metal cup. "Oh, Soraya, I didn't hear you come in." She glances around as if seeing the room for the first time. "We've been meaning to tell you. With Everest possibly going pro, we needed somewhere to display everything properly." My throat tightens. "Where's my stuff?" "In the garage, boxed up nice and neat." She wipes her hands on her apron. "You've got your own place now." I scan for any remnant of me. The spelling bee certificates, the Heiss Cool Journalism Awards, the framed front page I edited in college. Nothing, not one thread left. You could have asked. I say, "Well, you're never here, always at that coffee shop." always recording your little stories. She pats my arm, a cue to move on. Come help with the stuffing. Everyone's waiting. Downstairs, Everest's voice dominates the room. He nods at me, already mid-danic. Dote about a game. Winning catch. Later at dinner, Dad raises his glass. To Everest and FL scouts are watching. A real Grey legacy to be proud of. Glasses touch. Mine stays on the table. Afterward, I slip out to the garage. Cardboard towers mocked Soraya slump beside paint cans. I crack one open. My journals. Awards now bent at the corners. I smooth the wrinkles and breathe until my hands stop shaking. My phone buzzes, an email from Western Media Group, the network that's been circling for months. They're ready to offer distribution. Real infrastructure, real growth. The catch, financial references and a co-signer for the studio lease. Back in the kitchen, I find Dad at the sink. Can we talk? He keeps loading plates. Make it quick. Highlights are coming on. I explain the opportunity, the partnership, the lease, the reference. With every sentence, his expression closes like a door. So you want me to stake my credit on this podcast thing? He laughs once, but there's no humor in it. Soraya, those internet radio shows are hobbies. What happens when it dries up and I'm left holding the bag? It won't. I have 500,000 weekly listeners. This is. Your brother has scouts at every game. That's real opportunity. He shakes his head. It's not stable. I curl my hands at my sides to keep from shaking. I'm not asking for cash, just a signature. And I'm saying no. He wipes his hands, already turning away. When you have a real job with real prospects, we'll talk. Later, I sit cross-legged on the carpet of a room that used to be mine, surrounded by glass cases of someone else's future. I press record on my phone. No mic, no edits. Just breathe and truth. This is what invisibility sounds like. I whisper. It's the silence I learned to live inside when the people who should see you can't be bothered to look. Tears slip down, but my voice holds steady. They will never see me unless I make them look. The next night back in my apartment, I gather the framed family photos from my desk and place them carefully in a drawer. I sign Western Media's contract with only one name on the dotted line, mine. The world answers. Professor Williams from Community College calls after hearing the news. I knew there was something in your voice, she says. It tells the truth. Marissa offers her back room for after hours recording, rent, free until I'm steady. An email lands from tech investor Trent Daniels, who found the show through a friend. Your honesty is rare. I want to help you build an ecosystem for women's voices. When my first big ad deal clears, I sit amid a forest of contracts, every signature my own. On the bookshelf, the cracked toy microphone I kept like a relic catches the light. For the first time, the air in my chest feels wide open. Whether my family ever looks up or not, I will not disappear. A week later, champagne flutes ring around my parents' dining table. Dad stands, chest puffed, glass lifted high, to Everest. He declares, we're finally putting the Grey name in headlines. NFL tryouts next month. 28 faces swing toward my brother, who smiles with seasoned modesty. Mom dabs her eyes. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A message from my producer. We hit 1 million monthly listeners. The number I chased for years lands quietly while the room roars for someone else's future. In the kitchen, while I stack dessert plates, Mom finds me. Honey, tonight could we not bring up your work? Your brother needs the spotlight. The scouts are still deciding. When is my turn? I ask, arranging forks with a care that borders on surgical. She gives the sigh I know by heart. The kind used to sand down the edges of inconvenient daughters. You know how your father feels about real careers versus hobbies. A hobby, 1 million people, 200,000 in ad revenue last quarter. A hobby, right, I say, clipping the word into something small and sharp. Aunt Patty corners me near the pies. How's your little radio show, dear? Podcast. I answer for the 7th time. It's going. Did you hear Everest might sign with the Cowboys? She's already turning away. Your father is beside himself. 2 weeks later, I stare at the draft press release on my laptop. Gray medium. I company. At 24. 5 shows under our umbrella. A downtown L.A. Lease signed. 15 people on payroll. The launch event is set for Thursday at the Westbrook. Over 300 RSVPs. I want my parents there, not for money or validation, not anymore, but because the 12-year-old inside me still hopes that this time they'll show up. I type the email with careful hands. Mom, Dad, Grey Media launches Thursday, 7 p.m. Westbrook Hotel Ballroom. It's the most important night of my life. Please come. Love, Soraya. I check my phone every hour for 6 days. On the morning of the event, a text finally blinks awake. Sorry, honey, Everest's playoff game tonight. Your father says good luck with your thing. Love you. I set the phone face down, meet my own eyes in the mirror. A woman in a tailored gray suit looks back, eyelids shining with unshed grief. I blink, add another coat of mascara, and practice the speech again. That evening, the ballroom glows. 5 empty chairs in the front row gleam like teeth. Mom, Dad, Everest, Aunt Patty, Uncle Frank. I take the stage. Thank you for coming. I begin, voice stronger than my heartbeat. Grey Media is a new way of telling the stories that were never meant to stay quiet. The words come smooth until the Q&A. A reporter from the L.A. Times lifts his hand. Miss Grey, who inspired you to start your company? The answer rises from somewhere old and honest. I glance at the empty seats and return to the press lights. Maybe, I say, softer now. It began with understanding what it feels like to be overlooked. A hush rolls across the room. Cameras flare. I catch something like recognition in the eyes of the women watching. Daughters who know the cost of being last on the list. My phone rings at 11:42 p.m. The hotel carpet still imprinting my feet where the heels have left their mark. Dad's name flashes across the screen. I answer. Are you trying to embarrass us? He thunders, skipping any hello. Your little comment is all over Twitter. Your brother's teammates are asking questions. Which comment? I ask, voice flat with exhaustion. That nonsense about being forgotten, like we never supported you. You make us sound like monsters. I sit on the end of the bed, the duvet cool against my palms. If you feel embarrassed, maybe there's a reason. Don't get clever with me. No one cares about your little shows. This isn't football, Soraya. This isn't real. Millions do. I say, spine straightening, just not you. Silence stretches between us, 3 long beats. Then, stiffly, your mother's upset. The line goes dead. By morning, the clip has a life of its own. Headlines multiply. Young founder speaks out on being overlooked at home. My inbox floods with notes from women who recognize the shape of my story. In the conference room, my partners spill in early, eyes tight. The board's nervous about the personal angle. Mark starts, careful. Lucia cuts him off, gaze cutting and sure. They're wrong. Honesty is our leverage. Look at the numbers. She's right. Subscriptions spike. 3 platforms email before noon. The Women's Media Alliance asks me to keynote. For the first time, I feel what power sounds like when it's spoken without apology, not in spite of being overlooked, but forged by it. 6 months pass. My coffee table wears a neat stack of magazines. On top, Forbes 30 under 30. Page 18 holds my photo, cables and microphones framing a woman who built her own echo. Self-made media entrepreneur Soraya Grey reshapes podcasting. The caption reads, a new email pings. Degree of thought mail, Calm subject, we heard your interview on Fresh Air. I open it and the past walks into my apartment. Soraya, your mother and I listened yesterday. You spoke well. We're proud to see a Grey making such an impression in business. Warmth lifts in my chest, brief, bright. Then the last paragraph lands like ice. On a personal note, Everest had a rough cut from training camp. His boys' school fees are due. He needs a hand, about $3.00 a month until he stabilizes. Since you're doing so well, family helps family, right? The warmth collapses into something hard. I close the laptop, turn the magazine face down, and sit with the quiet at 2:00 a.m. I reopen the email and craft my reply piece by piece, as carefully as any contract. I acknowledge the interview, offer a few professional updates. I do not mention money. I sign off with, "I'm building something that matters," and leave off the word I used to add out of habit. Click send. His answer arrives before dawn, sharper this time. "Did you see the part about Everest? By evening there are 5 more messages, each less polished than the last. I answer none of them. A week later my receptionist buzzes. 'Miss Grey, your brother is here.' My stomach tightens. Send him in." Everest fills the doorway like he owns the air inside it. The quarterback posture is still there, but the jacket hangs loose and the smile doesn't come. "Nice setup," he says, eyes flicking to the view beyond my windows. "Must be nice. What can I do for you?" I gesture to the chair. He ignores it. "Dad's emails. You've been dodging them." I replied to the first, not about what matters. He strides to the shelf, pauses at the glass case where my chipped toy mic sits like a relic. "I lost the coaching gig. Comment I made. They overreacted." He shrugs, the old entitlement peeking through. The bullpen outside our glass walls goes unusually quiet. I heard. I say, "I'm sorry. Sorry won't cover tuition or rent." His voice lifts. "You've got millions while my kid eats instant noodles. What kind of aunt are you?" The word strikes clean and fast. Aunt, I've met his son twice. Both times, Dad and Everest talked plays while I carried dishes no one noticed. "You haven't called me his aunt since he was born." Slips out before I can stop it. "Don't twist this." His palm hits my desk, a dull thud. "This is about family. We help each other. When I needed help, night shifts, community college, signing a lease alone. Where were you?" I keep my tone even, practiced. "That's different." "How?" I ask, though I already know. His jaw works. "It just is." "You're," he falters, "a daughter?" I supply, not bothering to soften the edge. Heads turn outside. I didn't mean to raise my voice, but I don't lower it now. I stand, palms flat on the desk. "I built this company while you got scholarships and tryouts, while Mom and Dad made every game and missed my milestones. You can apologize for that, Everest, but I won't be your walking ATM." His face reddens. "You've always been jealous." "No," I say calmly. "I've always been invisible." I open the door. We're done. That night, my phone buzzes itself breathless. Everest posts a long caption about selfish sisters who forget their roots. Dad calls 7 times. I let each call die. Mom leaves a message, the practiced softness cracking. "Family takes care of family, honey. Your father and I gave you everything we could. Everest needs you." Delete. By morning, the pressure campaign has begun. A producer I met once calls, mentioning a concerned relative, asked whether my personal instability might affect our shows. 2 advertisers forward vague emails. Dad is sweeping his address book for leverage. My team gathers without being asked. They're trying to push you through business channels. Operations says, setting a neat list in front of me, "How should we respond?" I scan the faces that chose me on purpose. "Tell everyone the same thing." I say, "Grey media speaks for itself, period." My mentor calls from New York that afternoon. "Your brother's noisy." He says, "Rye, need a shield. Just your continued support." You've got it, and you're right to hold the line. Boundaries are oxygen. The word boundaries settles warm around my ribs. 3 days later, the intercom crackles again. Your mother on line 1. For a heartbeat, I hover over the button. Then I press it. Mom, Soraya. The voice is smaller than I remember. I wanted to call you myself, not through your father. That's new. I say before I can swallow it. A sigh. I'm sorry we missed your launch. I should have been there. The apology hangs, uneasy, incomplete. Thank you, I say, cautious. Your father doesn't know I'm calling. She clears her throat. Everest is angry you won't help. And you, I'm trying to understand. A long pause. The things you said about being forgotten. Was it really that bad? All the empty chairs, boxed up awards, quieted dreams line up in my throat. Do you remember when I was 12 and you told me to be quiet because the highlights were on? That was just one time, she says quickly. It was every time. Silence. When she speaks again, something brittle has slipped into her tone. We did our best. Your best was reserved for Everest. I say, gentle and final, I have a meeting, Mom. Am I? She starts, but I end the call softly. My assistant peeks in. Your cousin Becky called. She murmurs. People are asking questions. The perfect Grey family gloss begins to crack, hairlines spreading from a small, honest center. That night I stand at my window, the city blinking steady below. A text from Dad arrives. This isn't how Greys behave. I type back the only sentence that fits. Then I'll be a Grey on my own terms. I block his number, then Mom's, then Everest's. I close the doors I've left open for years. The quiet that follows isn't empty. It sounds exactly like freedom. A week later at 2:17 a.m., the screen glows again. Subject, your nephew misses his aunt. I breathe in and count, slow and steady. 1 Mississippi. 2, it's what my therapist calls grounding. I call it armor. Then I open the message. Dinner on Sunday. Everest is going through a rough patch with the divorce. His son asks about you. You should set a good example. Family takes care of family. Remember our sacrifices. The laugh that escapes me is short, unfamiliar. Sacrifices. Community college for me, a new car for him. I don't reply. 3 more emails land before morning. Mom calls him our little boy, forgetting he's 31. Everest sends a photo of his son with a football and the caption, he wants to meet his successful aunt. The manipulation is so obvious it should be funny. It isn't. It presses on my chest. During the production meeting, my phone buzzes again. After Terry, the host who never flinches on air, lingers, family again. They've discovered bank statements. I say, trying to joke and failing. She leans on the table. That interview you did last week about estrangement is blowing up. People hear themselves in it. Press is asking about your support system. A few reporters have already emailed. Why doesn't your family appear at events? One profile writer asked for the untold Grey story. I could tell the truth. I say slowly. The idea tastes like lightning. I could say exactly who they are. You could, Terry says, gentle but clear. But is that the voice you want the world to remember? The question follows me home, humming in the apartment I bought without a co-signer. Tomorrow's schedule holds a blank slot I labeled special episode weeks ago and never filled. That evening, I power up the mic. The little red light blinks. A patient friend. My hands shake once, then settle. This is a special episode. I begin. Names and details have been changed to protect privacy. The urge to name them rises hot in my throat, to make the great William Grey and his golden son answer for the way they handled the daughter who refused to disappear, but revenge would make me their story. That's not the show I'm building. Today, I say softly, I want to talk about what it means to be the daughter who was always loved last. For an hour, I speak without notes, the 12-year-old with the toy microphone, the college brochures edged in red, the empty chairs at a launch. In my telling, there is a parent who couldn't see past the map etched on a son's body, and a sibling taught to believe the world owed him a soft landing. I never say father. I never say brother. The power lives in what I don't name. When I finish, I sit with the stillness. Then I press publish. I title it simply, The Voice They Ignored. By morning, 1,000,000 downloads. By evening, 5, 48 hours, 10 million. The first call is Dad, voice thinned by rage. Take it down. People know it's about us. Is it? I ask mildly. I didn't name anyone. Everyone will assume. Only if it sounds familiar, I say, and the word Dad sits oddly formal in my mouth. He hangs up. Mom tries next, tears woven through her sentences. We've always loved you. How could you say such cruel things? I never said they were about you. I answer, and her silence confirms everything. Everest texts one line, Real family doesn't air dirty laundry. I don't reply. Within days, national outlets frame the story in headlines I didn't write. The untold truth behind a media founder. America's overlooked daughters are speaking. Messages pour in women who thought they were alone. My team moves with a new sense of mission. We're not just making shows. We're handing people the tools to record their own names. Late Friday, analytics confirm what we already feel. The episode is our most downloaded ever. I skim the comments on our site. Different details, same ache. I thought I was the only one. I close the tab when a new notification pops. My brother's latest rant about loyalty. I don't read it. His sentences can't reach me anymore. Instead, I open a blank reply to a 16-year-old who wrote, How do I find my voice when my family doesn't want to hear it? Start by whispering, I type. Then a little louder each day. The right people will listen, even if they aren't the ones you were born to. I sign my name and send it, feeling something heavy drop off my shoulders. For the first time, whether my family listens or not doesn't change the sound of my voice. Morning sunlight pours through my apartment windows, turning the city gold. 3 years have passed since that viral episode. 3 years since I closed the doors on the family that couldn't see me. My home feels alive. Quiet, steady mine. Books line the shelves where trophies once should have been. Awards glimmer softly in the morning light, proof that recognition can bloom even when it's denied at home. Grey media now spans the top floor of a glass building 6 blocks away. 15 shows, 50 million monthly listeners, and a team of people who found belonging in each other's courage. The numbers impress investors, but what fills me is the silence, the peaceful kind, not the one I grew up inside. I sip my coffee, eyes drifting to the horizon when a soft ping breaks the stillness. A new email, unfamiliar address. I almost swipe it away until I see the subject line from Tyler Grey subject, Hi, Aunt Soraya, the mug still's in my hand. I haven't heard that name spoken in years. Dear Aunt Soraya, I'm Tyler. I'm 12 now. I listened to your podcast, Invisible Daughters. I think I understand why you don't talk to Dad. I know our family treated you badly. I want to be different. Could we meet, just us? I stare at the words for a long time. Part of me wants to delete it. Old habits of self-preservation whispering, don't open that door again. But he's 12, just a boy. I reply simply, coffee shop near my office, Saturday, 2 p.m. 2 days later, I spot him instantly, all for his age, hair the same color as Everest's but softer eyes, uncertain and kind. He clutches a small box wrapped in the Sunday comics. Dad doesn't know I'm here, he says, sliding the box toward me. Mom helped me find this. She said you might want it back. The paper rustles beneath my fingers. Inside lies a cracked plastic microphone, yellowed with time, held together by brittle tape. My initials S. G still scratched into the side. For a moment the world blurs. I'm 12 again, whispering dreams into that toy, believing that somewhere someone might want to listen. Where did you find this? My voice wavers. Grandpa's garage, he says. They were cleaning. Mom said it was yours. He fidgets with his straw. I listened to all your shows. The one about invisible daughters made me cry. Dad never talks about you, but sometimes I hear him and Grandpa arguing about you when they think I'm playing video games. Something unravels inside me. Grief and hope braided together. Thank you for bringing this. I whisper. He hesitates, then blurts. Can I ask you something? Anything. How did you know your voice mattered when nobody wanted to hear it? The question lands so precisely, it steals my breath. I see myself in him, another quiet soul growing up in the shadow of louder ones. I didn't know. I tell him honestly. I just knew I'd disappear completely if I didn't use it. He nods, eyes flicking down. Dad says I should play football, but I want to write stories. I smile. You don't have to be like anyone else, Tyler. Just tell the truth. That's all any real voice needs. His grin blooms, sudden and bright. Could you teach me to record, like you did? When you're ready, I promise, I'll show you everything I know. That evening, I placed the toy microphone on my office shelf, right between my Peabody Award and the framed Forbes article. Plastic beside crystal, the beginning beside everything that came after. I press record on my private audio journal, the one I never publish. My voice fills the quiet room. Not every wound needs an apology to heal, I say softly. Sometimes freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for someone else to see your worth. I pause, eyes drifting toward the window where the city hums below. And sometimes healing comes through the ones who choose to be better. My phone chimes. A voice message. I hit play. I started recording my own stories, Aunt Soraya. Tyler's young voice, steady, hopeful, bills through the speaker. A smile tugs at my lips. I press the microphone closer to my heart. The cycle breaks, not with a shout, but a whisper.